And green rights activists allege that the project will wreak havoc to the ecological balance in the area, and the current incident in Japan has only added fuel to that entire agitation.
मरते दम तक लड़ेंगे और ये प्रोजेक्ट होने को नहीं देंगे.
Angry voices expressing displeasure at the government decision to set up the world's largest nuclear power generating station in Jaitapur, a region which they claim to be ecologically fragile. This 9,900 megawatt project will be jointly built by Nuclear Power Corporation of India and French nuclear firm Areva. An agreement to this effect was signed in December last year during French President Nicolas Sarkozy's India visit. This will also be India's first large-capacity plant using imported equipment after a 3-decade global nuclear trade ban was lifted against it 2 years back. But the project has been in the center of a storm from its very inception, with environment activists already sounding the alarm.
The government or NPCIL has not done enough to tell people what the impact is going to be. People are not fighting for higher compensation. People are fighting for their concerns about environment.
Continued protests have in fact forced the Maharashtra Chief Minister Prithviraj Chavan to visit the area. The state government, on its part, has been trying to assure its people about the safety standards in place.
Any project affected person can go and ask technical questions.
But people are not convinced. They allege that the project has no proper plan for storage and nuclear waste disposal, nor a draft on how to protect the ecology of the region. In fact, experts also question the choice of technology, particularly the European Pressurized Reactor or EPR technology that will be used for the very first time in this very project.
EPR, which has never been built anywhere and nobody else has tried it yet, but it is being dumped on the people of Jaitapur. The cost of the EPR will not be anywhere less than 20 crores of rupees per megawatt. Now, this in comparison with about 8 crores per megawatt for our own reactors.
However, in spite of such apprehensions, authorities at the Nuclear Power Corporation of India have defended the decision.
It is not a reactor newly designed. It is an evolved reactor from the proven technology and proven reactors which are operating in France and Germany. Electricity generated from these units should be such that when it starts producing, this would be compatible with the rate which will be available from the other thermal and other units in that particular area. So we are trying to work out the cost.
The corporation also blames the protests on misconceptions about the project. It is in fact distributing booklets to dispel all existing doubts. But as with most projects in the subcontinent, here too, politics has taken over the real issue. The central government, which plays an important role, has gone a step further, suggesting a conspiracy theory behind the entire agitation.
There are political parties who were never happy with the fact that our Prime Minister concluded a most successful civilian nuclear agreement, of which Jaitapur was the first positive outcome.
Incidentally, India's Environment Ministry has recently given a green signal to this controversial project. But this multi-pronged opposition over technology, environmental concerns and compensation packages is hampering negotiations. And the difficulty in explaining the complexities of a nuclear project is only adding to the confusion. Now, as a nuclear nightmare is unfolding in Japan, which has come as the aftermath of the devastating earthquake and tsunami, 2 nuclear reactors have been crippled and the explosions have sent ripples across the world, with people even asking questions whether nuclear reactors in South Asia and particularly in India are running safely. Let's quickly take you through how many reactors does India have at present.
1. In the state of Uttar Pradesh in Narora, the Narora Atomic Power Station. In Rajasthan, India has the Rajasthan Atomic Power Station in Rawatphata, the Kakrapar Atomic Power Station in Kakrapar in Gujarat, the Tarapur Atomic Power Station in Tarapur, the Dhruva reactor in Mumbai at BARC, which is also the biggest in India, and the Jaitapur nuclear power project, which is under construction. In South India alone, there are 3 atomic power stations: the Kaiga Atomic Power Station in Karnataka, the Madras Atomic Power Station in Kalpakkam in Chennai, and the Kudankulam Nuclear Power Plant in Tamil Nadu.
It's not that India's nuclear program has been incident-free. In 1993, a fire in the turbine room of Narora Atomic Power Station still remains a big blotch, though there was no radioactive emergency then. At the same time, two of India's oldest reactors at Tarapur are the only ones of the same vintage as Japan's crippled reactors. At present, India has 20 operating nuclear reactors and ranks among top 10 nuclear countries in the world. Authorities insist reactors in India are safer than the ones that blew up in Japan.
At present, India has 20 operating nuclear reactors and ranks among the top 10 nuclear countries in the world. Authorities insist that the reactors in India are safer than the ones that blew up in Japan. In India, 18 reactors are pressurized heavy water reactors or the PHWRs. These are different from the crippled boiling water reactors of Japan. Indian reactors are inherently safer as they use natural uranium as fuel as against the enriched uranium that the Japanese reactors use. Also, reactors in India use double containment as against the single containment used in Japan. Also, Japan has nuclear reactors in seismic zone 5, the most vulnerable to earthquakes. However, India forbids such construction and has deployed most reactors only in seismic zone 3, reducing vulnerability to devastating earthquakes. It is significant that reactors in coastal India were minimally affected by the Indian Ocean tsunami in 2004. Still, to allay further fears, the NPCI has already ordered a comprehensive safety audit of the reactors, taking into account the accident in Japan.
Let's quickly listen into what the Indian Prime Minister had to say about the project just a month back to allay some of the apprehensions that are doing the rounds.
It attaches the highest importance to nuclear safety. The Department of Atomic Energy and its agencies, including the Nuclear Power Corporation of India, have been instructed to undertake an immediate technical review of all safety systems of our nuclear plants, particularly with a view to ensuring that they would be able to withstand the impact of large natural disasters such as tsunamis and earthquakes.
And gauging the seriousness of the issue, the Indian government has in fact said repeatedly that it can look at putting in additional environmental safeguards to ensure safety of the proposed nuclear reactors in Jaitapur.
Yesterday, Prime Minister has made a detailed statement in Parliament. I know that the Nuclear Power Corporation is relooking at all its safety systems, relooking at design. This is appropriately a subject that has to be dealt with by the Atomic Energy Regulatory Board. And based on the technical reviews that the NPCIL does, we will certainly be in touch with them. And if additional safeguards have to be built in as part of the environmental clearance, we will certainly look at it.
The high point in India came in the middle of the week. South Asia's premier space agency, Indian Space Research Organisation, on Wednesday successfully launched into orbit a latest remote sensing satellite, ResourceSat-2. ISRO's homegrown workhorse PSLV C-16 placed the new satellite in a polar sun synchronous orbit. Apart from the latest remote sensing satellite ResourceSat-2, it also carried YouthSat and XSat to the orbit. PSLV C-16 blasted off from Satish Dhawan Space Centre in southern India, 90 kilometers from Chennai on Wednesday morning. The 1,206 kg ResourceSat-2 with a space life of 5 years replaces ResourceSat-1, launched in 2003, and would provide data with enhanced multispectral and spatial coverage on natural resources. ResourceSat-2, along with the 2 nanosatellites, will study and help in better management of natural resources in the region. Soon after the launch, ISRO Chairman K. Radhakrishnan announced that the PSLV mission was a success. Now, the success of the latest launch comes as a big relief for ISRO, as its GSLV mission in December last year had failed when the indigenous GSLV F6 carrying communication satellite GSAT-5P exploded mid-air less than a minute after liftoff. Earlier in April 2010 too, even the GSLV D3 mission carrying GSAT-4 had failed, dealing a severe blow to India's space program. It seems like the Indian Space Research Organization has successfully managed to tide over the recent failure of the indigenous GSLV launch. The new year has seen South Asia's premier space agency undertaking 3 major satellite launches in the first quarter of 2011. Let's quickly take a glance at the 3 new satellites that PSLV C-16 placed into orbit. ResourceSat-2, an advanced remote sensing satellite, it replaces ResourceSat-1, launched in 2003 to provide enhanced data connectivity. The other satellite that was put into orbit was EUTHSAT, a participatory scientific mission with payloads from both Russia and India. And finally, XSat, Singapore's indigenous satellite, which has also placed in orbit using the PSLV platform. With the latest success, ISRO chairman K. Radhakrishnan has announced that another communication satellite, GSAT-8, was getting ready for launch on board Ariane 5 in April-May 2011. Both ResourceSat-2 and EUTHSAT carry a host of advanced optical payloads. ISRO has big plans for the next year as well. Microwave remote sensing satellite RESAT-1, meteorological satellite INSAT-3D, communication satellite GSAT-7 and GSAT-10, and 2 Indo-French joint missions are some of its major plans for the next year, clearly proving that for these scientists, only the sky is the limit. We'll take a short break at this point in time, but the journey continues on the other side. Don't go anywhere.